and that I've noticed here in the last couple months, and I've just found it important for us to be able to address some of the things that we can clarify at the time of us closing a worksite account or even when we are scheduling for re-enrollments. And so a lot of this takes place and gets addressed when we have clarification on the billing information sheet. For a lot of my folks that have been here for a really long time, ADs, SAs, RYAs, you guys, like, I know this is something that's redundant information, but I do want to go over for my new folks. I want you guys in leadership to be able to see how this step in the process impacts the latter end, which is the billing, and some of the things that we can go ahead and fix and address here at this step of the process. Okay. And then also, we are going to be going over some updates and enhancements that take place on the Worksite online billing system. And so look forward to for us going through that. So as of right now, everybody should have a billing information sheet printed out. Does everybody have one? Wave it around, thumbs up. Got your pen and paper because we are going to be taking notes. Yes, I see it. Awesome, guys. Great. Get a pen out because we are going to be writing on here front and back. So I just definitely want to make sure you guys are engaged. I'm going to be telling you where to write, what to write. So please make sure you got your handy dandy pen and we are going to get started. So top of the billing information sheet, as you guys know, this is typically your second page on the 125 paperwork. And the biggest thing that I'm seeing now as we are submitting 125 paperwork and dealing with deductions and dealing with billing is the contact information that we are not, how do I say this, clarifying or adding more level of detail for us as a team to have an understanding of everybody's role in the process. And this is important because a lot of times when you have one, two, or excuse me, a lot of times when you have more than one person that is handling payroll or that's involved in this step of the process, there can be a lot of miscommunication. I know you guys may know as the representatives that are out there building the relationships with your accounts. However, when it comes to quality or the admin team that we have here at the agency that helps when we're reaching out to accounts, we look at this information. We look at the Epic account and research to be able to make those calls. And when the paperwork is not updated correctly, or if our Epic account, and I'll show you here in a little bit what that looks like. If that's not updated correctly, then we're just reaching out to the whatever is listed on the 125 paperwork or whatever is listed into Epic. And sometimes, a lot of times, we get frustrated decision makers, frustrated bookkeepers. I've had before payrolls like for an existing account. Oh, that bookkeeper is not even here. They haven't been here for a whole year. And we just didn't take the time to update the information. Then we have it just is unprofessional on our end. And so I want to make sure that we are doing this to help us and help you guys, especially as you go to service different accounts. And for a lot of my ADs, my newer eight promoted ADs, you guys are have certain accounts that were transferred to you. GAs and SAs, you guys have different accounts that are assigned to you from your ADs, and you run into the same exact issue as we run into when we're making our deduction or billing calls. And so if we do this properly in the right way and update it as we go to service for future enrollments, guys, I promise you it really helps all of us stay on the same page in terms of who to contact and who can help us schedule enrollments and who can help us with the deductions. So here we are, the first part. This is really in terms of when we're closing a worksite account, but I also know we use this for re-enrollments. Whenever we're changing re-enrollments, we also are referring back to this billing information sheet. And so the things that I want us to be able to clarify, and some of my teams, I think, like Christina's team, Dara's team, Gabriel's team, you guys do a really good job of, and even Tara's team, you guys do a really good job of when you close a 125, you guys already have these questions pretty much answered when you tag me in Epic. Okay, so the first thing is who are the owners/owners? Are they all on board? I usually look at this on the benefits fact sheet when you guys have presented. So I know it says decision maker on employer owner decision maker on the first section right here that's in red. John Smith is the example on the screen. That really is I'm questioning the owners, and is everybody on board in the process? And most situations, if there are other people involved in the payroll deduction side, the owner doesn't want to be involved in the deductions. They just want to they just want to authorize the entire process, move on, and they're going to delegate the deductions to someone else, which is question number two, who will enter the employee deductions into payroll? This is the person that we are going to be contacting when we're delivering the deductions for the employees. Okay, I'm getting some background noise. I'm going to mute, but afterward, I'm going to open up for questions for you guys, and you have the opportunity. I'll unmute you, or you can unmute later on. Um, Going back to payroll admin, the person that's going to be entering in payroll deduction. So where it says employer, owner, decision maker up top, I know I don't want you to put John Smith, but I do want you to write owner/owners question mark, and then all on board question mark. Where it says company billing, next, payroll contact. It already says in the parentheses, person handles deductions. You could put a little asterisk there, but I definitely want you to know that that's exactly where that person's name should be listed. Okay. The third is going to be, does company use payroll company or an accountant? Guys, there's a difference between a payroll company and an accountant. Payroll company just handles deductions. So you can put right above where it says payroll company. Let me get my little annotation out so I can help you guys on where we're at. Payroll company just handles the deductions, typically 99% of the time. And then the accountant is somebody that will handle the deductions and handle paying the invoice. However, in this step of the process, this is never something that we can assume. We always need to get that clarity, figure out who's going to be entering the payroll deductions, and then who is going to be paying the invoice every month. Okay. Now, if an accountant or payroll company is involved, it is always my expectation before I approve the account. Sometimes I approve it, but will not approve applications. I expect us to have made contact with that accountant or payroll company involved. They authorize, we're just touching base. Hey, we're partnering with ABC Roofing, and we are going to be doing their employee benefits for this month. At the end, the enrollment period ends, and they have payroll deductions that I assume you guys are going to be handling. Is that correct? Okay, great. Is there anything that you need from us to be able to start those payroll deductions the first pay period of, let's just say, August? Okay, so that's you guys reaching out and verifying with the payroll company or accountant that they, one, are going to start the payroll deductions, and two, really, if there's anything else in addition needed for those deductions to start. But if you heard in the way that my verbiage and how I just role played that call is really just, we don't want to ask them if they're on board, but really more so, is there anything that you need from us to start those payroll deductions in that month? Okay. And so touch base with them. Then number three is who will be paying the invoice every month. Don't ever assume. And I promise, guys, when we ask this question, it should have already been a conversation that has been had with the person that we understand to be paying the invoice. So if decision makers like, hey, payroll company, accountant, they're going to be handling it. I don't want to be involved in it at all. When we contact the payroll or the accountant, we want to go ahead and also make sure. Also, Mr. John Smith did advise that you guys are going to be handling the invoice every month. Is that correct? And then that way, when you're tagging me in Epic with the 125 paperwork, let's go ahead and answer these questions. Gabriel actually has copied this or taken a screenshot, and everybody on his team, whenever they submit 125 paperwork, they literally copy and paste this, and then they just answer it when they do 125 paperwork because they already know that those questions are coming, and it really streamlines the process of me approving the 125. Okay. On the next is the middle section billing information sheet. So this section is critical to us in filling out because these determine, one, the quotes that are generated in an e-app, and then two, the amount on the invoice and how often an account is going to get an invoice in 1 year's time frame. Okay, so number one, I want you guys to write under weekly 52, under bi-weekly 26, semi-monthly 24, monthly 12. The reason why I want you guys to write that is because I fix more billing problems in this instance than I would like to. And it really not only does it is it time consuming for us to fix, then we have to go back, fix deductions within an account. And sometimes it does cost leadership actual dollars to pay to fix it because home office requires policies to be paid current in order for us to fix when we have gotten this wrong on 125. So number one, weekly, that's 52 times per year. And everybody, this should, you can write above it if you want, but weekly 52. Above that, go ahead and write 445 because that's going to be the billing mode that we select for weekly. For biweekly, 26. Above that, I want you guys to write 223 because that's the billing mode that they're going to be on. For semi-monthly, where it says 24, above semi-monthly, go ahead and just write monthly. Under monthly, where it says 12, that's just going to be monthly. Monthly for 12. Semi-monthly, when they deduct 24 times per year, that's always going to be just on a monthly invoice. And let me get my annotation right here so you guys can see. This is just the regular monthly right here. This is going to be your 445. And then this is going to be your 223. But these three that are selected is going to be based off of what type of pay frequency that they have. Okay. And whenever somebody does say, okay, we do our payroll every other week, we want to clarify because every other week, does that mean you guys run payroll deductions 26 times per year or 24 times per year? Always get that clarification because there are times where every other week, to them in their mind, the 1st and the 15th, they're thinking that that's only twice per month. But understanding and making sure you know the frequency, the amount of times they run payroll will help us when we're filling out this section. Okay. So from here, let me clear my annotation. As far as billing modes go on the 445223, I want you guys to just to get a visual. Lately, which is clear on my drawings. Lately, I've been having a lot more what I cannot approve at all. 125 paperwork where billing mode is messed up on, and I have had to push back on a lot. And so I know want you guys just to be understand that for the 445 billing for the 52 payroll deductions, we should be asking what day do you close out your payroll every week? That helps us circle the actual day that they close out. So payroll usually runs, it starts on a day of the week and ends on the very day before. So payroll may run from Monday and it ends on Sunday. We would circle Sunday. And so it's the day that they close out their payroll. So go ahead and write on there, what day do you close out payroll every week? That's for your 445. And that just allows the account to receive an invoice that matches the amount of deductions that they've done the previous month. So what does that look like? So let's say they've selected Wednesday as their day that they close out payroll. And let's just say it's $100 per week from the employee's paychecks. So in April, they've ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Wednesdays. So their May invoice is going to be a total of $500. Okay, 500. Now, how much is the June invoice going to be based off of payroll deductions in May? 1, 2, 3, 4 in May. So the June invoice is going to be $400. Okay, so that's why that day is critical on selecting because it determines the amount on the invoice. And this is where bookkeepers, I get the most amount of questions and I get calls on this. Hey, so and so got an invoice and their invoice has been $400 every month. Why is it $500 this month? Right? Well, go ahead and look at what type of billing mode they're on, and that will help you determine, oh, okay, well, Mrs. Bookkeeper, this month I show, or excuse me, last month I show that you guys ran payroll 5 times instead of 4 times. That's the reason for the increase on your invoice. Biweekly, which is the 223, is going to be a little bit different in the way that we ask the question, and that's going to be, what was your first payroll date of January of this year? What was your first payroll date of January of this year? So on that billing info sheet where it says 223, go ahead and write that. What was your first payroll date of January this year? And that's going to be the exact same as 445 in the sense of the invoice is going to match the deductions that they did the month prior. What does that look like? A little bit similar, except it's not a day of the week. It's actually a date that is being counted. Okay. So if let's say a company deducts $100 from the employee's paycheck every 2 weeks. So in the month of May, every 2 weeks, based off of that payroll date, let's just say it was January 5th of 2025. And here on the calendar, May has three payrolls that are ran. That invoice for June is going to be $300. Now, in June, payroll was only ran twice, so that July invoice is going to be $200. Okay, and that's how you can see where the date is important by determining the amount that's on the invoice. Now, I typically go over this chart a little bit more when we do deductions. We are going to continue on with quality training next Friday. Yay, I know everybody is super excited. As much as I am, but it's just a lot of information, and I know we're wanting to keep training within a 30-minute time frame. So I didn't want to bombard you guys with too much information. But right now, what I'm really wanting us to focus on is, the setting up a new case on clarifying the everyone's role in the process, understanding their billing and not basing their billing off of our assumptions from a conversation. We're wanting to get actual facts because that helps us when it comes to their bills being due, any questions or challenges that they may have, and it helps us overcome those challenges and better service our customers so invoices get paid in a timely manner. Okay. And so from here, um, uh, on this chart, we're looking at so the billing information sheet we talked about, which is usually typically before the enrollment period on new cases. Now, here is the month that we're looking at right now. Let's say we've gone through, we've done our enrollment is over. Here we are, we're delivering the deductions, getting what comes next signed from the bookkeeper. And this is the first step, number one, getting the deductions delivered and verifying that they have been received. Next step in the worksite process is deductions being entered, the deduction period. So for right now in the month of August, we are verifying deductions on enrollments that have concluded in July. Okay, so right now, Destiny Nichols, she's now going to be taking over making the worksite deduction calls. She's the one that is making contact with deductions to verify that they've one, received them, and then two, have entered into payroll. Okay. Next week, we're going to go a lot more deeper into point of sale, enrolling, verifying the deductions, making sure it matches up with billing. We're going to go a lot deeper into that next week. But as of today, I really just want to jump into the billing once an invoice is generated, because I want you guys to be able to see how the billing information and understanding that affects how we communicate and get bills to get paid. All right. So from here, after the deduction period, all the accounts that we enrolled in July, we're going to be having those conversations effective the September invoice. Well, September invoices generate on the 22nd of the month prior, which is why I have circled here the 22nd, because the 22nd of this month is when September invoices get generated. Bills get generated out in the mail, printed, mailed, shipped over to the customers, and via email, the ones that are set up for online web bill, they actually get an email on the 22nd of every month letting them know, hey, invoice is ready to be reconciled. Please click here. Okay. That is mailed out on the 22nd because we definitely want to make sure they have enough time in order and is received to be able to pay by the first of the month. Okay. By the first of the month. And right now, like on my calls, I'm having the conversation with teams on the August 1st invoices, helping them get those invoices paid. And a lot of what I'm going over right now are questions that I'm getting asked on those calls. So let us jump into, before I jump into the billing portion, Sorry about that. For re-enrollments, I know we talked about for new cases, but for re-enrollments, whenever we're leaving an enrollment, guys, it's also important for us to clarify what's listed on the billing information sheet, especially for my GAs and my SAs that are being assigned to work re-enrollments. Please, please, please do not just go in and enroll and leave there and not understand the entire billing process or the contacts that are involved. A lot of this for my directors, guys, this should already be conversations that we should have with our teams as we go to assign them out to work certain re-enrollments. But guys, if you are doing what we should be, which is sharing your accounts and opportunities with the GAs and the SAs that you are assigning to work. I'm going to give you an example here in Epic. Um, it says my screen sharing is paused. Hang on. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to stop sharing, share my entire desktop. Okay. Um, so for my teams that are, for my ADs that are giving out accounts for your GAs and your SAs, you guys should be sharing the worksite accounts. And here's an example of a re-enrollment where the decision maker is Bruce. We set up enrollment with Bruce. However, the payroll admin is completely different. She doesn't even work there. She's just the accountant. Scrolling down here, here's the account. Instead of in feed, I'm in details. I scroll down. Here in the research, if you are shared the account, you have the capability of updating this information. And here's a really good example where this has taken place. Account info that handles deductions is Vanessa at Teamworks. Here is her telephone number, her email address, and then Heather McCumbers pays the invoice. So here is a prime example of 3 people involved in this process, which can get very confusing if we don't have our accounts organized and contact information updated. And I understand that some people you may want to update the billing information sheet. You do not have to. It's a waste of time. It's a paper trail. Let's just make sure all of this is updated in Epic in the actual account. And this way we have the capability of now if an AD does it, a GA does it, or an SA does it, updating it here so we all have access to everybody's role, how to contact them, and clarity as to who's paying the invoice, which in this situation would be Heather. And then the person that actually handles the deductions is going to be Vanessa at Teamworks. Okay, so really good example. Awesome work on this one. And moving on, that usually happens a lot of times for re-enrollments when we go to service. There are bookkeepers that change. There are times where payroll companies get changed or somebody finally gets an accountant that gets involved. So we want to make sure that this is clarified before leaving a re-enrollment. Okay, so GAs, SAs, please make sure we're writing new ADs. Let's write this down before leaving. Clarify who enters the deductions into payroll. All right. And the first payroll date that the bookkeeper will be entering those deductions. When delivering I'm not going to go over that because I'm going to go over that next week. But here we are going back to updating the account info in Epic. And we're going to visit this now. We're also going to revisit this at when we touch on Worksite Online Billing, because there are different things that we have to update in Epic as we service accounts. You all already know, Brian's mentioned it numerous times, especially at leadership meetings. If it doesn't exist in Epic, it doesn't count. And so with updates are also things that we look at when it comes to reevaluating, moving accounts, or if an account is dormant, whether we allow it to be transferred because another team has closed it. And so here are some also examples of when we have to update information. When we're updating our roster, and let me show you, I'm going to show you what to do in a second, but here's what we should be tagging and when. For everybody, please turn your new billing information sheet over. And I want you to write this, please. So flip it over where it's blank. Go ahead and write at franchise activity right here. This is where we're going to update the roster. Okay. We usually attach the roster at franchise activity. You guys don't technically have to tag me because when you go ahead and add the roster, it already gets logged in the files. And when I'm approving applications, I just go straight to the files and pull the most recent roster. You don't have to, but I know people are just in the habit of tagging me. The one that does need to be tagged is going to be Worksite because, or excuse me, franchise activity because they actually update the hire dates and allowing applications to get keyed. The next one is going to be at Worksite approval. So this is when we're changing the decision maker name, payroll admin names, telephone number, and billing address in Epic. So in this example, I wanted to pull up that we had here because right here it says Bruce Flexer is the payroll admin. Well, I am 99% sure he's the owner. So in this example, what I would do is I want his name to be under decision maker. And I know Heather, oh, Heather works here because her email is at Flexer. Heather McCumbers should be on the payroll admin name. Okay. And then we just have the payroll company teamwork can still be in the research. But this is an example of where we would want to come over here at Worksite, start typing at Worksite. It automatically gives you options to choose from. And then please, I would just type in here, please change decision maker name to Bruce and payroll admin to Heather McCumbers. Okay. Um, Telephone number, if we want to update that billing address, which is updating this billing address right here for where the invoices actually get sent to. We can also do that through Epic. Okay. And the next account research, we already went over that. That is for us. We can manually change that ourselves. Okay, which is coming down here. We just double click, we update it, we hit OK, go to the top, and we hit save, and that saves that information. Anything here that's on account details, home office has to update this in mainframe, and that's the reason why we have to go into feed and at worksite approval and get them somebody to manually key it at home office. Okay. Worksite billing. Here is, we're just going to go over two types of billing, which is going to be our online billing. And there are a couple of things that I do want to mention that are newer in terms of information for us to go over, simply because of our home office. Okay, here we go. All right, two types of bills, online billing and print billing. Okay. Online billing, you're going to see is going to be notated in Worksite online as web billing and print billing. Okay. So for web billing, which is online, how customers register for the online billing. First is they're going to go and hey guys, I want us to kind of like scratch everything that we used to do before in terms of getting with Angela or calling Worksite to get a registration link, like all of that for is not necessary. There's only one time where we're going to have to get home office involved. So as of right now, for our new accounts that we close, okay, here is how they can get registered for online billing, or here's how they can access the online billing. LibertyNational.com. Just go straight to LibertyNational.com. Let me show you here. Customer login, worksite business owners is what they're going to click on. And here where it says register your administrator account, I click on this hyperlink and here it goes, create an account. And I want you guys to do everything that they're going to have to enter in here is going to be the information that is provided on the 125 paperwork or that lives in Epic. For example, account number. So we would find that account number in Epic, or if they get a printed invoice, but a lot of times we are helping them and walking them through this online billing system. So here's the franchise number that gets entered. First name of the payroll contact, the last name, and this is going to be on that second line that we put for payroll admin. That is going to be the contact that they have at home office for this account to be found. The billing contact phone number, this is going to be the phone number that we put on the billing information sheet. So everybody go ahead and put a little asterisk next to payroll contact, put a box around that whole line and then draw out and say, we can put on there self-registration. This is the information on this line that it allows our worksite accounts to self-register for online billing. The name, The contact number that's beside there, this is not the business number, guys. This is the payroll admin number. And then the email address that we've listed for the payroll admin. Okay. And so once that's completed, they hit search and it should pop up the actual franchise and for them to be able to register for that specific account. If it cannot find it, it's probably because we have not updated the information, or they may be using a cell phone number, um, or a different email address. If that's the case, all we have to do is update that at home office. How do we update that with home office? I'm going to come into the feed. I'm going to add worksite approval. I'm updating payroll contact again, guys. And then I'm just going to say, please update online billing user for self-registration. And then I'm going to put name, yada yada, telephone number, email address, because this is where they're just going to key this into the online self-registration. Okay. Name, telephone number, and email address that bookkeeper wants to use. Once you guys at worksite approval here, home office updates it the same day as long as it's tagged before 5 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. And then tomorrow they'll be able to go in and update and get created, or excuse me, and register for online billing. Yes, you can call the worksite line, hit 2, and be able to get them to update it over the phone right there on the spot. Please try to eliminate from emailing me or calling me or texting me on doing it for you guys, because I'm getting a lot. I don't want to be the bottleneck of us not being able to service our accounts right then and there. I would like for you guys to be able to get resolution immediately. And the only other time that we would have to get home office involved is if the account was created before November 14th of 2024. Okay, so if it's an existing account, or let's say it's an account that you closed that already had a franchise number before, that would just mean that that data also has to be updated in Epic the same exact way that I just showed you at franchise, or excuse me, at worksite approval. And a lot of this, I would say, I would do the at worksite approval is if a customer calls me over the phone, um, and she's just trying to get it paid and registered. Some instances are more urgent than others, but if you tag again Epic at worksite approval, it will update overnight where the customer has access to it tomorrow, or you can call the 1-800 line, hit 2, and they can do it right then and there on the spot. Okay. You guys do have access, and here's what I wanted to go over. You guys do have access to the Worksite online billing at the very top of your own access to your own accounts to be able to view those that you have closed. SAs you have to your teams, GAs you can see over everything on your teams also, and then ADs you have accessibility to viewing that. All you have to do is log into your agent services, and at the top where it says Worksite billing, you click on that and you're using your Epic credentials to log in. And this is the capability you have to be able to do several different things. You can pull invoices by clicking on this PDF right here. You can download the Excel spreadsheet invoice, which helps us sometimes determine whether or not an invoice is being based off of 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Or you can actually view right here the blue icon, which helps us see the itemization of the online system. And you can kind of see if an adjustment, you can see an adjustment has been made, whether an employee has been terminated or not. And I believe I do have an example here that I can show you all. As far as adjustments being made. Oh, great, it logged me out. I will save this one. Hang on. I'm going to save this because we're running out of time. I'm going to save this, but you do have the capability right on this screen where it says $30.32. You have this capability of seeing right here who actually got removed off the invoice by clicking this icon, which is the blue one. All right. And then lastly, on the online billing worksite, guys, here's where we have the capability of seeing what actual billing mode that the account is set up on. So for this example right here, which is on the far right, let me just give you guys an idea. So on the far right, where it says right here, this is the screen that I'm looking at right here. Okay. So for this example on this screen, this is there's three different examples. All right. Right here is this one account. I want you guys to notice that the frequency of deductions is monthly. So this is 12 times per year. The billing mode is monthly. They're getting a bill 12 times per year. The bill type, this account pays online and they get invoices online. All right. This next example, pay frequency, this is bi-weekly. So they're doing payroll deductions 52 times a year. Billing cycle, you know it's a 445 when it has a day listed, which is the day that they close out of payroll, which lets you know that some months they're going to have 4 deductions invoices and some are going to have 5. And then this bill type is printed, which tells me that an invoice does get mailed out to the customer. They actually get an invoice in the mail every month. They can still pay online if they get a printed invoice. And this last example right here is going to be the bi-weekly pay frequency that we talked about. Billing cycle is 223. It has it listed here. And this example where it says no print, I've actually had to put this on no print because we're fixing a bill and the invoice. So I don't want them to get their next invoice until we've gotten our pending requirements issued and our billing discrepancies resolved. And then I'm going to put them back on either print or web. But sometimes when it does say no print, that means they're not getting an invoice. So that can be a possibility if you get a complaint from a customer. That could be the possibility as to why they are not getting an invoice is because they may be on no print. Sometimes home office does put them on that and they forget to change them back. Okay. And so here are just some examples on the online billing and how to navigate. I know we're running out of time. Bills are emailed. They don't, because bills are emailed on online billing. They don't get a paper bill. If customers are locked out, we just need to get with Worksite department on that to unlock them. They can't remember a password. They just need to click on the forgot password link. Different franchises. So sometimes there's different locations and one payroll person has 2 accounts. And they want to merge to be able to pay from the same user. We have the capability of doing that. Or if they want to pay from a different business account, they still can. And that's just still having 2 different franchise numbers and setting it up from the online system. I know that on this situation or example, they have to register one franchise before we can merge the other one with that user. Customers can't submit payments over the phone. So if they say that they can't see the submit button, always ask them, are you paying from your phone or from your desktop? And that will help you overcome that discrepancy. Employees not coming off of the invoice. We'll go over that a little bit more when we look at the breakdown of our chart, but that's because employees are not getting removed off before that 22nd date where invoices are generated. Okay. And then the last is a customer trying to set up automatic draft for a payment. We don't do that because we always want to make sure our accounts are reconciling every single month, making sure employees are still there, still being payroll deducted, so we can decrease the amount of refund requests from our worksite accounts. All right, guys, that is concludes our training for billing right now. Does anybody have any questions, challenges to address before we hop off? I will go ahead and send this out to you guys on the quality training that I sent out earlier so you guys have access to the video recording of it. If you guys got any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I appreciate y'all's time and I hope y'all have a great weekend. Bye.